key. Hi, everyone.
The subdued.
The subdued. Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to Good Willow Hunting. The Ramble presents.
Like we're on NPR.
It is. Hi. Welcome to the Ramble presents.
Welcome.
Good Willow Hunting. Here we are.
Where we take two movies in 2 weeks and compare and contrast them.
Cody, a film critic who can't really be considered a critic because he's never seen Chud 2. So what we're going to do now is... right, Cody? I bet you get that a lot. I bet you must when you go to like critic soirees and stuff
and
like that.
They're all talking Chud.
They're all talking Chud and Chud 2. You must feel...
You have to fake it,
You have to fake it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to pretend like I've seen it.
You have to fake your Chud 2 conversation.
So I excuse myself, go to the bathroom, read the Wikipedia page, catch up.
How could you be a critic unless... Oh, fuck. Real quick, before... This is a day late, 2 days late, because we're recording this on Tuesday, the day you've just heard Ramble Radio. This is a heavy-hearted Good Willow Hunting, as Cody broke the news to us.
With the dude.
The dude.
He goes, dude, and we're like, what are we're waiting for the...
We thought Cody could... I thought your equipment broke.
Dude, and we're like, what's happening?
Oh, no. I thought, shit, and then it was even worse news. We've lost Eddie Van Halen. This is rough. This is a rough one. We knew he'd been sick. I know David Lee Roth kind of hinted that he wasn't doing well a while back. But man, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Eddie Van
Halen.
The late great
Eddie Van Halen. Rest in peace.
Keep taking the good ones.
Keep the
good ones.
Yep. Fuck off, 2020. Can we get an asshole soon?
Yeah.
Anyway,
I know of a big one.
There's a giant one that maybe already happened. We don't know. Could have. We don't want to get kicked off Twitter.
No.
Look at that. Do you smell that? That is fake chicken goodness right there.
Oh God, is that pressed vegetable parts
into
a chicken patty?
And it smells like a little bit.
Is that soy or is that like vegetables?
I don't know. Whatever it is a not half bad smelling fake chicken. You know what it smells like? It smells like a chicken patty you would get at a public school cafeteria.
Yes, it does.
That's kind of that smell.
Now, do they inject the healthy vegan fake chicken patty with chemicals to make it smell like chicken?
That's a good question, because it does.
Because it smells like chicken.
It does smell like chicken. That's weird.
So what makes it smell like chicken?
I don't want that in my body.
Because then are you defeating the purpose of eating healthy by eating the chemical that makes it smell like chicken?
That makes it smell like a chicken. Cody, for those in the dark, Andrea is preparing lunch right now for herself, and she's had some vegan chicken patties that she's cooking. Vegan chicken seasoning in it.
By the Dow Chemical Corporation.
You know what that is, right? That's just leftover veal.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
You know what it is? It's chicken skin they just ground up and sprinkled on top of the chicken patty.
Chick skin. They actually have chicks just in a farm just to make the vegan chicken seasoning. That's what they don't tell you.
You don't eat the meat.
You don't eat the meat.
But they're used for the seasoning. To make it smell like real chicken.
Right. You think KFC were assholes. You know what I mean?
Whatever makes you sleep at night.
Man, well, here we are. This is maybe the most interesting we've done so far for Good Willow Hunting.
As far as pairings go.
We
usually try to pick either a similar genre or actors that are in both films.
Yes. However, we're going to get into this more with episode 2 of this.
Yeah.
But I kind of looked at Full Metal Jacket as just the Goonies grew up.
Yeah, it's almost a sequel in a prequel form.
Yes, it's a sequel in a prequel form. Because, we'll get more into it with the next one, but you have Joker, mouth.
Yeah.
I would say you could do a Cowboy Chunk correlation
Absolutely
right there. Let's just...
Yeah, we'll save the trade.
We'll save the trade. Second one. But the Goonies, which I'm sorry to the Ramblers who want Cody to like every movie that they grew up with. Cody, boy, he had a hard time with this when he was telling me.
Did you enjoy Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure more than you enjoyed Goonies?
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I did.
Okay.
Wow. All right, so.
I did.
Okay, go ahead. No, go.
Go for it.
I feel like the Goonies script must have been like 400 pages long because nobody shuts the fuck up for 2 straight hours. And there's so much crosstalk, like the kids are talking over each other, yelling. Like it's just, it was so much for me to handle.
There's a lot of yelling in the house.
There's a lot of yelling in the house.
Yes,
when they get captured by the Fratellis, there's a lot of talking. There's a lot of talking when they're underneath.
Chunk and Mouth do not shut up.
No, they don't.
And even what's his face? Who's the lead Goonie? Sean
Astin.
He doesn't shut up.
No, he doesn't. No, he
talks a lot.
Maybe this is the perfect combination because
And he carries
think,
a soapbox around with him
he
because he
does
likes to
carry-
get up on it.
He does get
the
on
whole
that
movie.
soapbox that whole movie. And then, but I think maybe because Kubrick liked long moments of silence.
Yes.
So I think this kind of does work perfectly as a 1-2 combination. But I remember when I watched it again, I'm like, God damn, they're kind of annoying. When I was watching it again, I was like, Jesus, enough.
It's because I hadn't seen it in probably 10 years.
Yeah.
And then I showed it to Colton probably about a month and
Right.
a half, 2 months ago, and I thought he would love it.
Right.
Like I thought this is gonna be
He's
one of those,
all in.
This kid, one of the movies I grew up with, that he would just be like, oh, this
Yep.
is great. He didn't really. He thought it was okay. Like after we watched,
Right.
like, what'd you think of that? And he's like, that was okay.
Right.
And because usually I'll show up. Jesus Christ,
Jesus,
with your
we have
fake chicken.
Fake chicken everywhere now.
But
It
usually with those
exploded.
movies, he gets really into them and he'll
Right.
watch them over and over again.
You think he's one and done?
I think he's one and done with it.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of the problem is that I think that it loses sight of its idea so quickly. It's ostensibly a movie about like foreclosure,
Yes.
and then like suddenly that plot point doesn't matter at all until like the last 5
Till the
minutes
last
of the
5
movie.
minutes.
Well,
One-
you could
one
say
little
it's
bag of
because
gems.
it's the big plot point is foreclosure, but then all the children go missing,
Yes.
and so now the parents are focused like, oh fuck, our kids
Right,
are
our
gone.
kids are
That's the
missing.
real important thing, not
Right.
the houses.
yeah,
So, and then at the end, they're like, oh, we found our kids, thank God. And by the way, bag of jewels, we have saved our
Right.
houses.
I remember.
So I can see where it would get
Right.
lost there, but for a reason, because the children are technically gone missing and the Fratellis are on the loose.
On the loose, this evil. I remember thinking, as a kid, I loved it. Right?
Yeah.
Now, I laughed at like 2 parts. They were the same parts I laughed at as a kid, but none of the other stuff held up.
Yeah.
You know, like what still floors me, and I think it's still hilarious, is Corey Feldman telling the housekeeper
Spanish.
where all the drugs
That
are.
still holds up.
That still holds
That's
up.
a funny bit in any comedy movie.
Any
ever.
comedy,
Yeah.
that's a great bit. And then I don't know why it's stupid and obvious, but I still laugh when there you go. Jack is putting his head through the ring light almost. I still laugh when the Fratellis tell us everything,
Yeah.
and he just starts.
And that's the one part that stuck with Colton,
Right,
That he
right.
repeats constantly.
right. Those two,
Yeah.
still good. A lot of the other yeah, that was really funny. When Chuck just goes off on that was hilarious. But then, like, what I was just almost completely disturbed by was Sean Astin almost fucking his older brother's girlfriend.
Yes. And then
Yeah.
her being completely fine with
Her
it.
okay with it. Like, what the fuck? I just made out with a child. Like,
And then his older brother not being pissed off when he finds
not
out.
being mad and dumping her immediately. How
Yeah.
do you
It's
move
like,
on
what happened
from
to your
that?
braces? And he's like, what? That little. And then she's like, oh. And then she kisses him and
Womp,
it's all
womp,
forgiven.
womp, womp,
No.
womp.
No. Not okay.
He dumps her, right?
Absolutely. And then you beat the fuck out of your
You
little
beat
brother.
the fuck out of you. You give him worse.
You just made out with a 10-year-old. You're 15?
Oh man. I do think it was.
Does that play in this day and age? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think
No,
so.
I don't think so.
Especially if the sexes are reversed.
No.
A 15-year-old boy makes out with a 10-year-old girl?
That's
Even in
oh,
that
God.
movie, at that time,
No
you're like,
way. What is happening right now?
Yeah.
I also think it's interesting to see Joe Pantoliano and Robert Davi basically be Three Stooges for an entire.
I didn't know they were so adept at physical comedy.
Right. I mean, it really. I mean, in a way, it's almost like.
It's like Home Alone almost.
It is, and you can see, like, did Home Alone rip this off a little bit?
I think
Because
a little bit.
the shit that Data does to them
Yeah.
is basically Home Alone, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like,
Yeah.
that's one thing I'll give, another bonus plus I'll give to the Goonies, is you could clearly see where Home Alone was like, here, let's just make a whole movie. Because that is a lot of the stuff physically that works.
It's the booby traps,
Right.
And then the two adults being fooled by the kids.
The slick shoes thing on the log,
Yeah.
that's still funny. Like, that still works. Like, you could see they were like, look, this is killing
Yeah.
in this movie. Let's
make a whole movie.
Let's
of
make a
this.
whole movie of just this, a kid taking on two older gangster, whatever, thieves, whatever. But it was weird to see Robert Davi and Joe. I mean, they did it fine, but it was just still odd to see, and Mama Fratelli. Throw Mama from the train.
Yeah.
This was that it? Was that her too big?
That was her big moments.
Those were big
This
moments.
one, and then they gave her Throw Mama from the Train
Yeah.
after that, and then that was it.
Do we need? Does Throw Mama from the Train need to go on Good Willow Hunting?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I
Cody,
don't know.
have you seen that one?
I don't remember lots from that movie.
Right. So, Cody, is there anything you liked about the Goonies? Anything that you were like, you know what, this isn't bad?
I think it was interesting seeing like some of like those actors that we know now as kids.
Yes.
I mean, like seeing Josh Brolin as a
You forget. I always forget he's in that movie.
yeah, because I think he's the one who had the career that's sort of taken off in the biggest direction in terms of becoming like a legit prestige actor. I mean,
Right.
Sean Astin had a moment, and then Corey Feldman sort of flew off the deep end.
Almost in the mid-late 90s, Sean Astin was going to be the one that came out of that. And then,
Yeah.
Rudy. Yep.
And then
It's interesting how
Josh
that
Brolin
race
sort of
started.
became
That
the one.
race started with Corey Feldman almost lapping him.
oh, yeah.
right?
He was
And
boat
then-
racing everybody.
Yeah, and then Aston comes up and takes
He
a
hits Rudy, and
huge
he's got the
lead.
Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Right.
Like, all right.
And then Brolin just bam at the last second.
Bam.
Just shoots
out of
up.
nowhere.
Yeah.
And that bike crash kills Josh Brolin in the Goonies.
how does he live? How does he walk away from that?
He's going full speed, attached to a car.
car.
And then they let him go.
Into the woods.
And he flies off a cliff.
Into the woods.
Into the woods. You're dead.
You're dead.
dead.
He wasn't even injured.
No, nothing.
Man.
Torn sweatpants.
So you like seeing seeing them as kids, but interesting, like, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. I don't think, again, I think that there's parts of it. So it's weird because like some of it seems like there's good gags in it where you think it's maybe like funny or creative, but then it does like cartoonish sound effects randomly throughout, like you're watching like this like Looney Tunes or something.
Right.
And that really detracts from it in a big way. And also, I feel like it sort of goes on forever and ever and ever. It feels like a really long movie.
But this
Yeah.
is a kid's movie.
It is a
this
kid's
isn't
movie.
a kid's movie made for adults. This was
No.
a
It was a
kid's
kid's movie. But it is
But I think
like,
even like if we're using the comparison of Home Alone, I don't like, even though the booby traps there are slapsticky, they're like clever and funny and things like that. Whereas I don't think this movie had a lot of that going for it.
one thing I also will say about the Goonies is I think watching it again, it lacks a lot of the emotional punches like you thought would be there. Like it just them saving the houses is kind of an afterthought. There's this weird Sean Astin is in love with One-Eyed Willie that never really goes. Like it's just
like he respects One-Eyed Willie. And
Yeah,
you're supposed to admire One-Eyed Willie
right.
for killing his whole
killing his
crew.
whole crew and booby trapping. That's like it just it.
So he could be buried with his own treasure.
Right, but there didn't really seem to be any. I don't know. Like it, I know you. It's not it's not high art, but there doesn't seem to be any growth with any of the characters. Like everyone kind of ends the movie
Well,
the same as they
Mouth
started.
and what's her face, sort of like
Mouth, and that was it.
That
though,
was like
right?
the only. I forgot
Mouth
what,
and Martha Plimpton.
Oh yeah, Martha Plimpton.
They
That
were
seemed to
it.
be the only two.
Yeah,
whereas
they were like,
they
oh,
sort of evolved a little.
They
bit.
right. That's it, and they weren't even the main characters, right? Like it just. That was. I thought that was.
And that was even. I don't think you're that gross, and you're
Right.
pretty okay looking. Too.
You're pretty okay looking too. That was the big. Rick, oh wow, happy ending
They
after
grew
all.
so much.
Man, what did you what did you not like, Cody? You obviously
Everything else.
the rapid fire dialogue, the constants.
It was just too much. I feel like, and I feel like the characters were like all kind of shitheads. Like I don't think that there was any, like I found Chunk to be obnoxious and.
But that was the character of Chuck.
Right.
Yeah, but you've got Chunk and Mouth who basically sort of they double down on by creating two obnoxious, like
That's kind of a good point. You don't
annoying
really
characters.
You don't really need both of them, right?
You don't
Like,
need both. No.
You don't need both. I mean, and why? You know what I thought was, because Sean Astin just kind of mopes the whole movie, right?
Yeah, and inhales his inhaler.
Yeah. I honestly.
And then he just cures himself of asthma. At
Then
the
he.
end. Miraculously cures himself of asthma.
I think it's a better movie if Data is the main one, because he's the MVP.
Yeah, he saves their life.
He saves them all. He's the one who creates that dude. If not for Data, they're dead after 5 minutes. That guy literally is the MVP of that entire movie.
You can make that argument.
Yeah, I mean, what are they? He's Mahomes. What do they do without him? He's like that. If Data's not in that movie, it's like that year that Manning got hurt and the Colts went 0-16. You know, like it's just.
Yeah, if Data's not there, then the Titans win that playoff game.
Oh my God! It's just not even. Come on.
And also, I don't think that the sloth thing has much of a payoff in terms of like
Right.
I think they want it to be like this big moment in the movie, and it just sort of, for me, it kind of falls flat. Like the whole thing is about like him bonding with Chunk is like borderline creepy at times. like they tell each other they love each other at the end of the movie, and
Right.
you're kind of like,
And then he's going to live with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he just
Without
moves
even
in with
clearing
them.
out with the parents. This grown man. Who knows what his background
With
is.
superhuman strength, it's just gonna.
Who knows what sort of mental issues he has.
A lot of volatile temper that he
you
shows.
don't know. He's going to kill the family dog when you come home from work.
Right, just eat it. Just eating it. Half in his mouth.
Eat
And you're
it.
like, okay, well, all right. Chunk, no.
No.
It is.
But would you have gotten that emotional payoff when he goes, "Hey, you guys," and he swings down
that
on
was
the boat?
not bad.
But had Mama Fratelli been Papa Fratelli, and then he could have actually laid out Papa Fratelli,
Right.
would that have given you that
That might have helped a
that
little bit
pop
more.
of like
right,
him actually coming to save the day, where he actually
Right.
physically beats his family?
right. That would have been a good payoff if he just fucks up
If
his
it was
brothers
just his
and it was his
dickhead
dad. Right.
the whole time,
Right.
not a mom, which kind
Right.
of gave you that sort of conflicted thing, like how can a mom treat her children this badly?
Right.
And then at the end, that you can't hit your mom,
No. No.
but you
that's
could
true.
certainly slug your father.
You could slug your.
So you never get that come up into
That
that
is true. He
payback
doesn't really have that. Yeah, that's
because
a good point.
it is a mom.
Right. Yeah. It was. Yeah. That's true. That's true. You kind of want him to just.
If it
knock
was a
'em all
dad, he
out.
could just knock them all.
And I
out.
remember in my head when that scene happened, I thought, does he beat them all up? Because I remember probably as a
Yeah.
kid thinking that's what should have happened,
Yeah,
right?
but he can't
Yeah,
because there's
you
no
can't.
lady.
Right, you can't just knock the fuck out of him. I mean, if it were like a Toxic Avenger movie, absolutely. But if it, it's not.
Be
so-
like fucking sloth, just give her a
If it was
back
a-
break,
yeah,
or
if it was
just
a-
fucking Bane Batman, Mama Fratelli over his knee.
Oh man, so the trap after trap after trap didn't do anything for you, Cody. By the
No,
piano, I'm like, enough. By the time they got to the piano, I'm like, for fuck, really? This guy put time in to put a skeleton piano? Like, enough.
That
with
was
this.
the most outrageous of the booby traps.
Yes.
and then the Waterloo water park.
That was. I remember watching that, thinking. I remember my dad. He took me to see it.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying, "Are they just trying to make a video game?" Like that was when at
what
that
it felt
point, like it was like, let's just see.
But it was
if-
basically Indiana Jones for kids.
right. It was. It was.
That's what this was supposed to be.
and you also have to give every character their chance to prove themselves
Right.
along the way. So
You have to justify why you're watching 7 kids in a cave.
in a cave.
right.
Was that the original working title?
7
Kids in a cave.
But again, I really can't get over the fact that this whole thing, like the whole inciting incident for all of this is foreclosure. Like it's just like for a kids movie, that's really a really hard entry point. I
Right.
think.
Yeah, I know.
But they were going to foreclose the Goondocks.
The
and then
all their houses.
All the Goondocks were going to be
All their
gone.
houses are going to be gone, and they had to find a bag of jewels,
Yeah.
one little pouch that
Saves it all.
Saves it all. Like that was, yeah. That is. I really wonder if it was meant to be something different or bigger. Like I wonder if Spielberg maybe had the idea of a TV show. You know what I mean? Like a mini series
Yeah.
or something, because they just throw. It's just.
And I'm not clear on foreclosure law, but I don't know if everything can just be simply handled by a bag of jewels and ripping up a piece of paper. I don't know if it's that cut and dry.
Also, how is Corey Feldman speaking and understanding fluent Spanish in the first scene, but it
Yes.
takes him like a minute or two to put together the words at the end of the
That's
movie?
He's
right.
been through a tragic night.
He's been through a long night,
Oh,
man.
He's been through a long night.
He knows every hard drug under the sun and how to say sex toys in Spanish, but he doesn't.
He doesn't know how to say stop writing.
Yeah, stop writing. That's a very good point.
But
is,
as a child, you don't think of that.
No,
'cause
you
it,
don't think of that.
Again, is
No.
a child's movie.
I was just thinking, how fun would that be to slide down that thing? How
Yeah,
fun
very
would that
fun.
be to find?
They all would have died at that piano, though, because
Right.
there was just finger bones.
They were
It
just
wasn't
finger
really
bones.
keys.
I wouldn't have gone near that thing.
Nobody would.
The minute I
She
see
had
that,
what, she had like 2 lessons.
yeah, I'm like, fuck it, we'll move. You know what I mean? Like the minute I see that piano, I'm like, I'm out. We'll
Yeah.
move. Fuck it.
Also,
We'll just-
it didn't even make like a tune or anything. It was just
like a
you just play these
harpsichord.
10 random notes.
Yeah, and the
Right.
door comes halfway down. They're like, play it one more time to get it all the way so we can easily walk
Easily
across.
walk.
As soon as it cracks open, you're like, I'm not going to risk the floor falling
yes,
out.
I'm just gonna
climbing
jump
through the
in.
hole.
Yes, I'm just gonna climb through. That was. Oh man, that was It really.
I just
was.
wanted to. I just don't even think that there's, and it's weird for me to sometimes come to these big pop culture type movies where, I may have caught the reference in passing but not known what it meant or what the context was, and how much sloth merch I've seen over the years, and how inconsequential the character is.
You're thinking
in the
he's
grand
gonna
scheme of
be
things.
like fucking huge, right? You're thinking with all the shit you've seen on
Or
it,
have some great lines.
right?
Yeah.
Just kill it.
Steal every scene he's in.
The only thing he's remembered for is Baby Ruth and Hey You Guys.
Yeah.
That's it.
And wearing a Superman shirt under
under his thing, ripping
Raiders
off
T-shirt
the-
because it's Lyle Alzado.
right. Who?
Yeah.
Oh God, I just
And
thought of
also-
something I can't say. But Lyle Alzado, maybe a real life slot. Anyway, I can't. I just with what steroids did to that poor guy. Fuck.
He probably ad-libbed a lot of those lines in that movie. It's just him
Was that
ripping.
Lyle Alzado?
Uh-huh.
That was. Well, he was
Yeah.
the body of Sloth.
That's why he had a
right?
Raiders T-shirt
That's
on.
right. Yep. That was, man.
And I think the other thing too is just that beyond Sloth not really making an impact, I don't think that there's a lot of pop culture-y moments in the movie, period. Even memorable lines, even the one line that I had heard, "The Goonies never say die," is not even a good line in the movie.
Yeah, it's just Sean Astin on his soapbox.
And then the truffle shuffle is not as memorable as
it's
T-shirt
no.
makes it out
It's
to
weird
be.
because you look at a movie like Die Hard has more actual pop culture moments in it.
Yes. Jack,
Jesus Christ.
you fucking dick. He just knocked over all the figures. All right,
And showing
Ramble
his
Corporate.
asshole
Come on.
to
Go,
his-
buddy. Come on, buddy. Come on.
I think
Bud
Jack's
me.
a Goonies
Thank you.
fan.
He is a Goonies fan. He's
But
not
it
having
is one of those movies where it's it is solely based on nostalgia.
Yes.
It is kept alive because
Absolutely.
of our nostalgia of the
Yes,
80s.
no question.
Otherwise,
no
it could be just left on the pile.
Well,
of
I'll
forgotten
put it
80s
this way:
movies.
if this came out in '95, I'd have never seen this fucking thing or never given a shit about
and
it.
I remember it hit back big time. It was mid 2000, 2002, 2003 is
Had
when
a
you started
comeback.
seeing all the Goonies
Yep.
merch come back in because you'd forgotten about it. It wasn't mentioned in
Yep.
the 90s.
No.
It came back in early 2000s when people of our generation got into adulthood and we started getting very nostalgic for
Yep.
everything. And this is one of those first nostalgic things that came back,
That's true. It was
along with Star Wars and.
But Goonies was. I remember. I think I saw
Goonies.
Goonies shit before, right? I would always what? I was like, Goonies? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had the.
But it was
Yep.
literally I think it was our generation, kids of the 80s,
Yeah.
that hit adulthood in the 2000s.
Right,
That
right.
brought, and that was one of the first waves of nostalgia that came, and Goonies was part of that wave.
But see, I don't remember much of the Sandlot. But is your Killing Me Smalls that pivotal of a moment to be on every fucking T-shirt ever?
No.
I mean-
Again, I think that was a 90s movie,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that was, I think,
But the thing about that line is that it's at least in line with the character of Smalls being a punching bag for
Yeah.
the first
Right,
part of it.
right,
So it
yeah.
has memorability
Right.
with that, as opposed to again, the Goonies never say die line or the Truffle Shuffle, which is just sort of
It's 10
a totally
seconds.
out of context thing.
And they never do it again.
they never do it again.
Like it would have been
Yeah.
maybe that should it would have been
That's what distracts Mama Fratelli from killing them.
right more
Yeah.
memorable, even if as silly as it would have been. But in the Hey You Guys scene, if when they land, him and Sloth both do the truffle
And
shuffle
it
real
pauses
quick,
the Fratellis for a
right?
second.
That would have been
It
that
would've made
would
sense.
yes, I would have.
But
liked
I
to-
seriously think this is one of those movies that came with that first wave of early 2000s nostalgia.
Yep, and it helped
From
it.
kids from our generation.
I think had we not seen those things, we probably would have forgotten about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cody, what is your critique? What's your grade? What do you give the Goonies?
I would probably give Goonies a C if I was reviewing it.
C.
I think maybe even a C minus. I think that again, it's just it seems like there's too many characters first and foremost, and then the characters that are there are redundant. Again, again, Chunk and Mouth do not need to be two different
Right,
characters.
right.
And I think ultimately
Jack.
I don't get the pop culture relevancy of it. It just doesn't make sense to me. If this came out nowadays, it would be just another, random crappy.
Oh yeah, right.
Like be on the Disney
Spy
Channel.
Kids 5.
Yeah, yeah.
I think when I first saw it, this was an A.
Well, yeah, as a child, I love
Yeah.
this movie.
Now I'm gonna give it a B minus. I go B minus.
I'd give it a B.
B,
I give it a B. 'Cause
yeah.
I still enjoy watching it, but
Right.
I do see the faults in it.
Yeah, I do. There are
But again, it's because I grew up with it and I love it back then. I don't know if I was exposed to it for the first time in my 30s like Cody is, if I
Right.
would have the same feelings. for
right,
it.
right. I remember one of the things that I always thought was funny that I think still was just ridiculous is the those armbands that they use to just tie Josh Brolin down to
like
the
first of
chair.
all, that's going to rip both your shoulders because the way
the way
his arms are out wide and they tackle him.
Right. It's just,
But my biggest hint to this movie wasn't as great as I remember being is when I showed it to Colton.
Yeah.
And his reaction to it, completely unbiased. He doesn't have any skin in the
just
game.
didn't hit him as like he
and
thought
it didn't
would.
hit him the way I thought it would hit him.
Interesting. Well, that was Good Willow Hunting for this week. Next week, talk about a movie that had unexpected pop culture all over. I mean, the first half of the movie are maybe provided some of the most quotable you've heard lines spoken all the time in movie history.
Maybe even the second half, too.
And then the second half, the opening of the second half.
They made songs about
Two
it.
Life Crew had an entire song about the opening of the second half of Full Metal Jacket. I mean, they just... I mean, that was the entire song. Was just "Me so horny, me love you long time." Like that was an entire sample. So there we go. Full Metal Jacket is up next as we see the Goonies saving the Goondocks and going to Vietnam. That is
and curing asthma.
and curing asthma. We will see you next week on Good Willow Hunting. Everybody, take care, everyone. Bye.